Last season was definitely a roller coaster ride, that's for sure. I mean, it would have helped a lot more if I wasn't sick. That was the biggest challenge, and we didn't find out about Epstein-Barr until the second to last round. We're made to push through the pain. If we have a broken arm or a broken collarbone, we can push through the pain. It's physical pain that we have no problem with. But when pushing through the pain doesn't work and it just makes you sicker and your body just literally shuts down, that it's really hard to deal with. So Epstein-Barr is basically like the same form as mono, is what normal people know it as, and it's technically known as the kissing disease, but it's also basically caught on by overwork, and obviously that's basically what I did to trigger it. 20 seconds into a minute lap time for trying to put in my fast lap, and I was just getting super nauseous and literally about to throw up full gear in my helmet, which is not a good feeling for sure. Preseason was a lot just that I had to do on my own. I was working on my own bike, riding and training on my own, and then my boyfriend Kenny was hurt at the time, so taking care of him, and then flying out, the schedule was even gnarlier just because of the media that I was doing with Feld. I'd just fly home on Sunday, fly back out Wednesday, so I was only home for the 2 days. Thinking back, I'm like, man, that was dumb. But I was so used to it because that's what my arena cross schedule was like. I'd always do that, and it was actually 2 nights of racing. So I was just kind of so used to it. I was wondering why it wasn't working this year, and I was getting so tired and not being able to concentrate, and just my body was just shutting down on me, and I had no idea why. And I'd fail on the weekend and then get pissed off and try harder, and that's the worst thing you can do. I just want to ride my dirt bike and have fun and get the feeling that every day we're looking for is just to ride good and have a good day, but just make it enjoyable, I guess. And that's kind of where it's led to, especially after this summer and the past entire year, where I was just miserable on my dirt bike. I would hop on, and 5 minutes in I'd be sick, and then the next day I'd be miserable from trying to ride. We stepped my program up, and we've had to because of the illness, and I think that's been one of the best parts, is just to have everything we need, a great mechanic behind me, so everything's just tying in and you know, just so much better this year. Kenny's my boyfriend of about two or 3 years now. I'm not really good at math, so every morning he, packs up the food for the day, and he's going to the races to make sure I'm fed and gonna film for me, and just make sure my drinks are all set up, and just do everything that I need that I get too stressed out or don't have time to do. And that's just a huge part of the program, and I'm just really thankful that he is a part of it and willing to sacrifice and step up like that. Donk's full name is Scott Donkersgood, and that's a horrible last name, so we just call him Donk.
My name's Scott.
Full name?
Donkersgood.
And what do people call you?
Donk.
Alright.
So Donk built my X Games bike in 2014 for X Games for Best Whip. After he built my bike, and obviously he's well known, and he's a very well-known mechanic as one of the top mechanics. So it was really cool to be able to kind of get him on board, because I'm definitely, I think, underqualified to have him.
My goals are just to provide her the tools in order to achieve her goals, really. I mean, nothing's changing on my end, whether I'm working for Vicki Golden, Nick Way, or a slew of other riders I've been fortunate enough to work for. So my goal is always the same, is provide them a safe, comfortable tool, which is the motorcycle, to do their job.
The new team is great. Team Microbuilt, PRBC, They stepped up really big, and it was kind of actually a last-minute deal to be made a part of the team, and they were kind of reaching out. They have Ronnie Stewart, and they were reaching out to add a second rider, and it just kind of worked out. He was allowing my personal sponsors to kind of collab with his team, and he just made it really easy for me to fit in there. He's just on board 100% of whatever I need. He's got me covered, and that's just huge. Just to know that someone's willing to just, you know, step up and do whatever it takes to make sure you're set on the track. That's amazing to have in a sponsor.
Race weekend is basically the light days. You know, the work is done during the week between myself and Vicki and Kenny even. You know, race weekends are the easy time for us. I mean, you go and you're basically, if you do your homework during the week, weekends should just be, you know, plug and play. And I think we've been working pretty hard, and hopefully we got her in a spot to, you know, surpass some of the things she achieved last year.
Just with this year, it's just so much easier to know what we're getting into and not have that pressure. And now all the pressure just comes from myself of wanting to do better and what my expectations are. When I grew up riding, I didn't really expect or even envision going this far. And I was like so amped to try and go to like Lake Whitney or Loretta's, and that was like kind of just as far as it went. After that, it was just like, oh, you get on big bikes, okay, start riding, racing, and go to the amateur nationals, and then like, oh, we turned women's pro and did those, and just kind of, I guess, as I grew up and got more mature, that I realized that it's just kind of always been like, oh, like, that sounds fun, let's go do this. It hasn't really been like when I was on a 60, it was like, oh, I want to go race Supercross. It was never really like that. I never really looked past what I was doing because I was just riding my dirt bike.